Hey everyone, it's Kyle from Cool Collectibles, back again for another review. This time it's the new Sideshow Collectibles for LOM. For all your 1/6 scale figures and more, click the link in the description below to head on over to Sideshow Collectibles. They ship worldwide, so definitely check them out. Alright, I just got back from about 4 weeks in the USA on holidays with the family, so I did receive this a couple of weeks ago, I think, from Sideshow. And I just got back yesterday, so I've unboxed it now and we'll start the review. The box art, as you can see there's nothing really too fancy about the box. If you've had these figures before, you'll know what you get. Just the front box art, the back box art, which nothing too fancy, and just the magnet fold for the box there. So I'll get that out of the way. As you can see, it doesn't come with too much for the price, which is a trend these days with Hot Toys and Sideshow figures. With this one you get the standard Star Wars hexagonal base, which I guess is a pretty stock standard with the Star Wars logo on the bottom, which is their style that they've gone with recently over the last maybe year or two. It does come with the long rifle that he does have in the movie. I think in that bounty hunter scene, I think he's just holding it up with his right hand like so, or something like that, which you can do fairly well. This is very similar to the Hot Toys long rifle that came, I think, with their stormtroopers, and I think also with the A New Hope Han Solo and Chewbacca 2-pack. It's not exactly the same design. The Hot Toys ones is probably slightly more detailed, with the holes and so on that you can actually see through. And I think this mechanism on the Hot Toys one you can actually push back and forth as well. There is a bit of articulation in the piece here, which you just need to be a bit careful in case you snap something. So you can pull this bit off like so, just attach it from that peg there, then you can bring it down and have it splay out the front as the I guess the tripod, or whatever you want to call it, for the rifle. It also has a bit of a sight thing at the front here. I'm not sure if this one moves. I can't seem to get that one to move, and then for whatever reason that I can't think of, this piece at the top here also lifts up, so I'm not sure if that's where you put the ammunition or whatever it is, but they've got that sort of a mechanism there. So overall, the paint application with the silver wash and so on with the weathering isn't too bad, and it all sort of looks fairly good and accurate to the movie. So not too bad there, but that's his only weapon, because that's pretty much all he had in the movie. And with the two hands, you do have these separate sort of loose hands. Now the sculpting is pretty much exactly the same as 3PO, although 3PO did have articulated fingers, which these are not. So I'm not sure if they just went with that due to all the complaints on the previous 3PO figure. The price is pretty much the same, so I'm not sure why they couldn't have gone with articulated fingers, but there were a lot of complaints of the thumb being installed the wrong way and not articulating correctly, etc. So they probably just had enough of all that and just went with molded hands. Now, I have heard that there are issues swapping these out, so I would definitely recommend putting it in hot water, or at least putting the standard hands that come out of the box in hot water to pull it out. Otherwise, apparently they're pretty damn tight, and I've heard of some people breaking certain things trying to get them done, or breaking the wrist pegs, etc. So just be careful there. But onto the figure. My biggest complaint, which I might as well get out of the way, that honestly annoyed the crap out of me for the first 30 minutes with the figure, is the head sculpt itself and its articulation. Now, when I got it first out of the box, it could only rotate from the center to its left to about there, and the neck joint has the sort of grooves, I think, that stop it from going any further, and it wouldn't rotate even to its right, to the camera's left, which it can slightly now. Now what I had to do was I actually pulled the whole thing and the neck joint off, that you can see there, And the neck joint is pretty much exactly the same as 3POs where you put the batteries, except there are no electronics for the batteries. You can still, they still have the holes and so on for the batteries, just no wires. So I pulled that off and tried to insert it back in to have it at least centered so that it could turn left and right. And when I did that, for whatever reason, it seemed to reverse it, and I could not rotate it to its left anymore. But now, for whatever reason, how I inserted it may have been wrong or something, but now no matter how much force I pull on it, I cannot get the neck joint back out, which is very annoying. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that, and whether or not I can just put some water in there or something to loosen it up a little bit. But talking to the folks on the Sideshow Freaks forum, there was a user, another Australian user as it happens, called Momore, I think, that he goes by. And he showed some pictures of his head sculpt that had rotation all the way to both sides. And he said out of the box he had the same issue as mine, where it only rotated from center to one side. And he essentially just forced it. And it's very, very tight. And I think he essentially forced it past its designated stop points. So the stop points are essentially there to about there, and I forced it a little bit more to about there, and that's where it stops. So as you can see, I'm forcing it, or putting a bit more pressure, and it's not moving. And if I put more, it really does feel like it's going to snap right off, and that's pretty much the point on this side as well. So for that, I guess I'm happy enough that it can look in both directions slightly now, although it is pretty damn limited, and he can't look up very much, and he can look down a little bit. So overall, just be careful when you try and rotate the head. There are a number of other collectors who said they can't rotate the head either. So you might be able to just push it past certain points, but I'd be very careful about doing it, and just in case you snap something off. So that was my biggest complaint. I guess the other complaint is these pistons are pretty much identical to 3POs, and so they are very delicate and prone to bending. The plastic is pretty soft, so be careful when you articulate and bend the arms. There are grooves here, just exactly like 3PO, to allow these pistons to move back and forth, and they move on mine at least a lot smoother than they did on 3PO, so there's probably less risk of breakage, but out of the box you'd want to be very careful that there's no paint or anything like that stuck in there to cause it to snap right off. So be careful there. But everything else on the figure is pretty much the same as 3PO, except for the head and this torso piece. I think I've got 3PO here anyway, so I'll bring him in. So you'll see it is pretty much a repaint. So everything that I can see anyway, from the feet, legs, hips, even this lower torso maybe. No, I think that whole torso part is remolded, at least on the front anyway. If I just turn them around, the back is probably a repaint as well, and this mid section here is a different sort of wiring. But the arms and everything else is pretty much the same as 3PO. And with my 3PO here, you'll see that the head rotation, I can feel where the stops are, but the neck piece actually rotates. So as I turn, you can see the neck piece rotating, which gives it that extra range of motion. But on this fall-on figure, that neck piece is friggin' bloody stuck and just won't move. Now on that head sculpt, overall it's not too bad. Mine did have these crooked pins at the front there. As you can see, this one on his left is a little bit crooked. You can sort of straighten it up, but just be careful you don't break that off as well. You don't want one of those Darth Vader breathing tusks incidents happening again. The eyes are pretty nice. There's a bit of light piping in there, as you can see. So there's it's translucent green, and it does look pretty nice overall. And and the sculpting by all accounts is pretty accurate. Mine does have this weird nubbin thing on the top here, which I can't see in any of the other photos, so I'm not sure why that's there. And if yours has that or doesn't have it, let me know in the comments below to see if I don't know, maybe I need to contact Sideshow and ask them what the hell that little pimple is. But other than that, that's pretty much the head sculpt. The paint application. Overall, I was pretty disappointed with the weathering on 3PO. I thought the rusting and so on looked like it was pretty heavy-handedly hand painted on there, and it didn't look that great. But the overall sort of rusting and dust application on this one doesn't look too bad. You can see it sort of in the grooves, the copper sort of rust color there. So it does look fairly decent. The articulation wise, it's got the same sort of ball joint up in here somewhere, so you can get that sort of range of motion back and forth slightly. I wouldn't extend it too far, to be honest. The arms do rotate 360. There is a rotation joint here as well. And then of course I just show the elbows, and the wrists do rotate. I don't think there's too much ankle or rocking motion in these wrists. There is a rocking motion in the ankles, which is quite nice. The hips of course don't have too much articulation due to the armor, and I guess that's pretty accurate to the movie. And the knees, I think, bend to about I don't know, what's that, 30 degrees, so not much articulation there either. But overall, that is pretty much the figure. So you don't get too much for the price. There's no metal on this thing that I can see. It's pretty lightweight, so if you're used to the Bandai die-cast 3PO, which weighed a crap load in comparison, you're probably going to be pretty disappointed. So I think this is really geared only towards fans of the bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back, and those that got IG-88 and Bosk and Boba Fett from the previous figures, to complete the whole sort of bounty hunter troop with Dengar and Zucker's coming up next. So I'm one of those Star Wars suckers that want to complete that line, so I wanted to get this figure. Now on Australian, even after a $20 discount, I think it was around $300 Australian. So can I recommend it for that price? Probably not. This is really for die-hard, hardcore Star Wars fans who just want to complete that that series from Empire Strikes Back. Because other than that, not many people are going to be too familiar with the character. It's not iconic by any means, if you ask me. So definitely not worth the price tag for what you get, and for the overall quality as well, particularly with that neck issue that I've got. But for die-hard fans, I think you'll probably be pretty happy with it. It's probably an upgrade from the previous Medicom version, I think, by all accounts. So if you're a fan of that, then you'll probably be pretty happy with this. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you like that quick review and can click that subscribe button and like the video as well. I do have a few more things coming up with some Bishojo statues that I got while I was away as well, and I do have the Hot Toys Force Awakens Han Solo and Chewbacca set coming up next as well. That is on its way from Pop Culture, so hopefully I should get that tomorrow. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers, bye.